Okay everyone, welcome back to a new week of Gran Turismo Daily Sport Racing. So in this video today we're going to go through all the races and talk about the combinations. So if you do enjoy these videos, please do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, obviously if you're interested in anything Gran Turismo 7 related, make sure you subscribe to this channel because we're going to be doing a lot of guides and stuff in the future. So starting the race off, we have first race of the week on Daily Race A at Tsukuba in the RX-7, which is actually quite a fun combination, I have to say. I quite like this car around here. It's actually got quite a lot of grip. But going into turn one, the usual chaos. Everyone braking a little bit too late. A lot of cars going into each other, you can see there. And we've got 3 cars off the track straight away on the left-hand side. So in this combination, expect a bit of chaos. I quite like the way this car drives around here, though. So I think it's actually reasonably fun. But again, into the braking zone, we have a car spun off there. A little bit of chaos kicking off on the right-hand side. And we're up into P5. But we're going to back out of that because we saw the driver on the inside was always going to send it. And another car took out the race. Chaos straight away in this daily race A. But we're up to P5. So for me, it's actually pretty okay. So again, covering the inside into this tight right-hand corner. P4 goes very wide there, and I don't understand why, but you keep watching this race, people keep drifting this car almost like they're using the handbrake, and I don't know why, because the car doesn't react like that with me, and I can't figure out what they're doing to do it. Because again, look at P2 drifting into the final corner again like he's using the handbrake or something. It's very strange, because I was watching this race when I was racing it, obviously the other cars watching them, and I was thinking, why are they drifting like that through the corners? Because my car felt really stable, but maybe it was a brake bias, because I did have my brake bias on -2, so maybe with rear brake bias this car becomes a little bit sketchy possibly. But we're up to P4, we're having a good start to this race, and we're not too far behind the lead. You can see we've got P2 and 3, so we need to try and get through this battle as quickly as possible. We've got a nice run on P3. He's actually going to go defensive on the inside there, which is going to compromise his exit here, but that's also going to compromise our exit, as we're going to have to back out there and then lift off because we've got that wide line through the corner. But we're going to try and send it up the inside. Can we brake late? We go for the look up the inside, but we see that he's going to cut that off and make sure we get on the brake just in time there and hang on to P4. So not too bad start to this race. Finishing, we're past 2 laps gone nearly, just finishing lap 2. Have a little look there just to try and put a bit of pressure on him. And again, into the braking zone, watch P3 again. Drifts the car. I cannot understand it. I really can't figure it out. It has to be if they're downshifting, the way they're downshifting with the brake bias. That's the only thing I can think of, because my car was not reacting like that. So it has to be aggressively downshifting, as P2 does the same thing again with the rear end. So they must be downshifting too fast and then brake bias towards the rear or something. But yeah, with -2, my car wasn't really doing that. So then again, into the braking zone, you can see we're purple on this lap. And again, keeping it nice and tight into the apex. Get on the throttle nice and early in this car. It will give you really good exit speeds. There's plenty of grip with this car. And like I say, it's actually quite fun to drive. You're on sports hard tyres, and they actually provide quite a bit of grip. So we're going to skip ahead to lap 4 now. We've managed to catch up to P2, and we're not far behind him now. And we're going to obviously try and put him under some pressure to see if we can get into P2 in this race. So again, purple lap, you can see we did a 104.6. Now I do think you can go a lot faster than that. I think with slipstream you could probably do 103.6s if you really nail a lap. But I did 1 lap practice before I jumped into this race. We didn't do any time trial. I just jumped in 1 lap, didn't go over the line, and then that was it. So P1 up ahead, you can see, has picked up a penalty there. It's only half a second though, so that penalty is not going to lose them that much time at this combination at all, because the penalty zone is only there and it doesn't actually lose you that much time. So he'll have to do that on the next lap because it was too close to the penalty zone. We're having a little look up the inside of P2. Again, he's going to defend that line. And again, we're going to try and go around the outside. And again, you can see his car drifting into that right-hand corner. It's really strange. My car was just not reacting like that. But again, over the line, we're going to have to hang on to P3 here and see if we can figure a way of getting past P2. So again, into the braking zone, he goes very deep, a little bit too late. We're going to take a tighter line than him. A little bit of contact there, but nothing too bad. We give him the space on the exit, and we're side by side now going into this sequence of corners. So again, braking a little bit early because we've got him on the inside. Going to try and hang it round the outside. Can we manage that in this car? You can see we managed to hold it round the outside. He gives us a little nudge there, but he just about gives us enough space on the track. And some side-by-side racing there, some pretty good racing, and we managed to take that position up into P2. So now we've got to see if we can catch up to P1, although he has got that half a second penalty, but he's not actually going to lose that much time. You can see he takes a penalty, loses about 7 tenths, not much at all. So the gap 1.1 1.2 seconds, something like that, as we go over the line here. And let's see if we can get as close as possible on this final lap. It's going to be very hard to even get close to him, really. We're over a second behind. But again, through turn 1, P1 goes a little bit wide there with the oversteer on the car. And now we're working our way down into the braking zone. So we do have that slipstream, which is going to help us out. So onto the brakes nice and early. And again, try and get the rotation through this corner with using the throttle. You can get on the power so early with this car. It will really give you a lot of lap time. Again, through this right-hand corner, swing it out. Get on the throttle as early as you can and try and take it flat out through this section. So again, keeping your foot planted, skim the grass on the left-hand side, and then into the braking zone. Braking in between the green Astro on the left-hand side there, I brake pretty much half of it, right in the middle of it. Get on the brakes, downshift the second gear, and then on the throttle nice and early again on the exit, and then just work your way into that final corner, which I use the 50 board as a brake reference on this right-hand side. You can see as we come up there's a 50 board on the right-hand side. I brake just before that there, and then just get the car, let it coast through the corner. Don't be too aggressive with any inputs, and then just try and get on the power nice and early, and you work your way to the outside of the track. And we go over the line there, a 104.4, not an amazing lap, but again, it's quite an enjoyable combination. But P2, not too bad in that one. But now we are doing Daily Race B, and we're going to come across our first idiot of this week. So yeah, we only really met one person like this week actually, but there's always one every week that wants to cause the chaos, so it doesn't surprise me. So especially with this combination, Daily Race B this week is Lego Maggior Center in Group 4. Now, it does seem the Megane FF is OP, very OP for this combination. I'm driving the Ferrari because I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be boring and drive the FF car. Managed to qualify in P3 and starting this combination. So starting off, this race was actually pretty okay. There wasn't much going on. It was we were all in the slipstream, driving pretty nicely and driving quite fairly. So again, start of the race, all going okay. P1 driving well, and straight away we broke the slipstream to P4, and it's all okay. You'll see for the first few laps it's all fairly good driving. Again, this combination really suits the Megane because of the insane acceleration that the Megane has. It's unbelievable. If you look at coming out of this corner now, even though the Ferrari's in the slipstream, obviously the Megane's in the slipstream, but just watch the difference on acceleration here from 3/10 to half a second in no time at all. That is how fast that Megane is in the FF car. But yeah, keep your eye on P1. P1 is the driver that we had an issue with in this race. Extremely dirty driver, and yeah, it's the type of driver that can get quite annoying when you come across them, but it's to be expected. You're always going to come across drivers like this. So we're going to fast forward the action here now on lap 2. And again, as we come into the final section there, working our way up the straight, again, you can just see the Megane pulling away on the straights. Pretty much every time we come up to them corners, it was like that. And you can see, at the moment, the first half of this race was really well behaved. We've got the gap up to nearly 2 seconds to P4. Everything's going okay. P1's driving okay. P2 is driving okay. No real incidents to report. No one's driving dirty at this point. But something switched on P1 on lap 5, and he just wanted to start driving dirty for some reason. So at the end of lap 5, we're going to see now, going into this final section, P2 manages to go for a move on him. I think P1 outbrakes himself here and brakes too late. Goes a little bit wide, and we see that we go to the left hand side. He tries to cut us off, but we already had our car up the inside. Perfectly fair move, and then he just completely rams into P1. Very strange. I don't know why he did it, but yeah, he's obviously at this point out for a bit of trouble. So let's have a little watch of this now. It doesn't look like P2 does anything majorly wrong there. Maybe he taps him in the rear, but we go up the inside perfectly fair, and P2 goes completely flat out into P1 and goes for the takeout, but it doesn't obviously work. So we rejoin the race. We're still in P2 with the yellow Megane in front of us, and we've got the dirty driver behind us there in P3. So into the braking zone, let's see what happens here. And you can see that he's a bit too far back to go for anything that's going to cause any harm. Yeah, he doesn't do anything silly there. So carrying on down this straight, we're going to fast forward up into the last sector because nothing really happens on this part of the track. You can see there's not really much you can do. But again, into the braking zone, nothing too bad there. He actually drives fairly clean. And then again, as we come into this braking zone, we see him go up the inside, and I see him going for a lunge. So I decide to back out, and he goes straight into P1 and wipes him out. Now, if you're going to do that, at least let that car back through. I don't know, it's probably deliberate. It looks like it was, but you can see from my point of view, I see him, as I'm about to turn in, I see him going for it, and I decide to back out and then tuck up on the inside. and we take P1. So yeah, a little bit dirty, and again, not very nice to see, but it is coming quite common on GT Sport without the penalty system and the SR system not really working. But it is what it is. We still have brilliant races on Gran Turismo. Not every race is like this. But again, into the braking zone here, he rams into the rear of us and just pushes us wide. And I think he was going to try and push me into the barrier there. Luckily, I saw it coming and started turning left. And now we're right behind P1 again. So yeah, this driver was clearly out to cause trouble. Again, what keep your eye on now, his braking inputs through this corner, because as we come into the braking zone, this is an accelerating zone, and he starts slamming the brakes on, and it's really awkward. But we managed to take that position back, and then looks like the car behind gives him a little nudge, and then as we're coming into the final corner, he goes straight flat out and rams us straight into the barrier, and Gran Turismo gives us a penalty for it. Thank you, Gran Turismo. Doesn't surprise me that though with the penalty system with more hits. But yeah, we finished that race in P9. Not much we could do after that. But P1, the driver that was taking everyone out takes a win, and he didn't get a single SR down for that race, which is a little bit worrying. But final race of the day, we have daily race C, and it's at Spa in the wet. And now Kudos actually got the settings wrong. You do not need to use the intermediate tyres. It is a no-stop race on full wet tyres. Like I say, don't always trust Kudos, because Kudos tyre, what they'd say for the tyres isn't always right on Kudos Prime. So yeah, starting this race from P14, we've not set a lap time. Let's see what we can do. We're driving the NSX. This car, for me, is the best car for this combination. Also one of the best cars off a standing start. Look at the grip it gets over the other cars. And straight away, we have to go for a decision there. Decided to go left and just about managed to stop the car spinning. Into the braking zone, braking nice and early. A lot of chaos is going to go on this week with a standing start in the wet. It's going to be hilarious. I'm actually looking forward to this week. A lot of fun standing starts. But we get a really nice run there and actually put ourselves up into P10 there off the start. So not bad at all. Gaining 3 or 4 positions from the standing start. And then as we come through the fast flowing corner here, we're going to look ahead. There's a car off, another car to the left, and we decide to go to the right hand side. And I managed to take another few positions there and up into P7. So pretty much perfect start to this race at Spa. Really good racing. It's not been too dirty. It's actually been fairly clean. It's just wet weather is very tricky. It's a very difficult skill to master on GT Sport. You can see I brake very, very early there because we don't want to go into the back of anyone at the start of the race, and taking it nice and easy on this opening lap. I'm trying not to push it too much. We have P6 in front of us. Keep an eye on him now as we go into the braking zone. You're going to see I have a little look up the inside here, and I don't know if we make him think we're going for it, but I brake quite early. He misses his brake, has to get out of the way of P6, and somehow manages to avoid all the cars and just slides in that gap. But that is another position there. We're up into P6 now, and we're only on lap 1, so a pretty good start to this race. And this is why I do like the standing start, because it's so entertaining, because the field spread is so much closer. This is what racing should be like at the start of a race, so I do enjoy it. But yeah, into this long left-hand corner again, the Beetle. I don't think that car is the best car to use for this combination, if I'm honest. I think the NSX is the car that you need to use, if I'm brutally honest. The car just feels so well planted on traction for this track. It also feels really good on rotation. It just feels made for this combination when it comes to wet weather. But again, looking up ahead, we've got a car with a penalty in P4. P1 has actually blitzed away in the front there. He's over 5 seconds in the lead, so that is going to be difficult, possibly, to catch up as we work our way through the few corners here. Now, again, through this right-hand corner, onto the back straight, try and get a good exit off this corner again. On the power nice and early, and P5 gets on that curb on the left-hand side. That's going to lose him traction, and we're now up into P5. So from P14 to P5, yeah, in just under a lap. So quite a nice start to this daily race here. I do like this combination though. It's going to be a fun one this week. I'm just trying to get really used to it. The more people practice this, it's going to get better, I think, because people will be making less errors and stuff, and it should be quite an enjoyable combo. But into the braking zone, again, we brake nice and early, making sure we don't brake late. However, the Beetle behind us completely misses the braking, hits the rear of our car. Luckily, he doesn't try and overtake us, and we managed to regroup and get the car back on track and get reasonable traction out the final corner. So no real place lost there or real time, and we're starting lap 2. So let's see what we can do. So into the braking zone, P3 and 4 going side by side. P3 is going to run a little bit wide there. We take a nice line into the corner. Good traction off the exit, and we're up into P4. And then on the exit there, P3, I think he got a little bit of a bad exit. We got a really good exit, and we're going to take that position up into P3 now. So yeah, a brilliant start to this race from P14 to P3 in just over 1 lap. And now we're going to work our way on the top of the hill here. A big moment there at the top there. You have to be very cautious. Good idea to upshift the 5th gear at the top of that hill or midway through the corner. Just helps stabilize the car. So we're going to skip ahead to the end of to the start of lap 3. We've managed to catch up P2 already. So it took us a lap and we're right behind P2 already. So a pretty good lap there. It wasn't actually a fast lap because we were battling a bit at the start of it, but you can see up into P3, and now we're going to be challenging for P2. Also P1 only 3.7 seconds ahead in the lead, so the win is very possible for this race. Looking at the circumstances in front of us, it should be possible if we can get past these drivers as quick as possible. So again, taking it nice and easy through these corners. One thing I will say about this combo is just make sure you get your braking points. Braking points are so important in these heavy wet conditions, because if you miss your braking point by just a fraction, your car will be understeering and then oversteering, and you just lose so much time. So make sure you hit them braking points. So again, following behind P2, we're very close to him here. See, getting a very big moment there on the curb, but just managing to hold on to it. Again, braking nice and early, making sure that we get the car into the apex. And again, the reason for that as well, braking early, is because you can square the car off better then and get on the throttle nice and early. Trying to get that acceleration from the corners is key in the wet conditions. So again, into this right hand corner, down 2nd gear, and early upshift to 3rd gear on the exit. You'll see up to 3rd gear, and then you can see the better traction the NSX gets. And again, into this apex, and then on the throttle as early as we can. Again, P2 gets on that curb, has a bit of a moment, and I think he decides after that just to back out and let us through, because possibly he was losing time. So decides to let us through there, and we're up to P2 in this daily race C. So we're going to fast forward the action. We've got 3 seconds to gain on P1, which you can see we're gaining quite quick. We actually took 3/10 out of him in one corner there, into the braking zone, onto the throttle, taking another couple of attempts out of him there, and then working our way through the really tricky corner, and then working our way into the braking zone. You can see P1 had a big moment there. We've caught right up to him there. He had a massive moment on the top of, I think it's Redallion, isn't it? Or Rouge, whatever we call it. And then again, into this right-hand corner, and you can see how close we are here. We're in the slipstream pretty much. You can see a bit of a twitch there on the rear of my car, and then we brake a little bit later, and this is what I'm talking about. We braked a fraction late, and look at that. We're late on the brakes, a little bit of understeer, dirty tyres now, and that is going to lose us over a second. You can see straight away we've got dirty tyres still. Again, in this corner, having to take it super careful, because one thing with heavy wet conditions, if you pick up dirty tyres, you are going to lose a lot of time. Luckily, we managed to catch him back up with within a few laps, or with just over a lap or something like that. And he makes a bit of a mistake there, going a bit deep into the corner, and now we are right behind him. So again, we're going to try and make sure we don't make that mistake again, and see if we can get past P1 to take the win from the back of the grid. This will be an interesting one. Can we find the way past? So obviously it's very tricky in wet conditions to actually do an overtake, because you can't brake too late. You've got to be very early on the brakes. So it is very much a case of just being consistent and trying to be smooth and trying to get your moves done with traction. Now, what I will say is the NSX is a better car than the Porsche here in wet conditions. It's a much better car. It's got so much more acceleration. You can see again out that corner, the rotation on the corners really helps out. We get a nice easy move up the inside, and we're up into P1, and all we've got to do now is try and break it away from his slipstream, which I'm going to be brutally honest, you'll see it wasn't that hard, because the NSX is just so good. On the throttle nice and early there, 4 attempts out of that corner, half a second, and then we braked a little bit late there, but what we do is square the car off, get up shifting into 3rd gear, and we're out this corner, and we've already broke the slipstream, and that is what I'm talking about with the NSX. It is just such a good car for this combination, so I think it's the best car to use for this week's daily racing. Now, you will be able to use the Audi R8 and a Ferrari and Lamborghini, but they're going to be tricky. I think the best bet is the NSX, in my personal opinion. But we managed to take the win there with a 5-second lead. We built the lead up to over 5 seconds, and a pretty solid drive there. You can see lap 6 did the fastest lap. Lap 7 wasn't very good. I made a mistake on that one, but lap 6 we did a 44.6 or 7 or something like that, which, considering the tyres were quite warm, was not bad at all. But yeah, enjoyable combination. I cannot wait to stream this daily race C this week. It's going to be a fun one from the back of the grid. I think that's what we'll do. Make it quite entertaining from the standing start. But yeah, do give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in any sort of Gran Turismo 7 content. We're going to be smashing that GT7 content. When it's out, we'll be doing content every single day. So yeah, I will see you all soon. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.